I never thought I would be the one to say this publicly, but we are being watched, and now they have spoken again. Before we begin, I need you to do something. Write your city name in the comments below and tell me if you have noticed anything unusual in the night sky recently. NASA, the Pentagon, and observatories around the world are quietly collecting this information right now. They want to know where these phenomena are being seen. What I'm about to share with you today may completely change the way you see humanity's place in the universe, and I mean that in the most literal sense possible. I am a theoretical physicist. I have spent my entire life studying the cosmos, black holes, string theory, and the nature of space and time itself. I have always believed that the universe operates on principles we can measure, predict, and understand. But what happened 3 weeks ago has shaken that belief to its core. A new transmission was detected, not from Earth, not from any satellite we have launched. It came from 3I Atlas, the interstellar object that entered our solar system in 2024. The one that NASA assured us was just a comet, except this time the message was different. This time it mentioned something that has left the global scientific community in a state of silent terror. It mentioned the returning ones. I want you to understand something before I continue. When I say transmission, I do not mean random noise. I do not mean cosmic radiation or some glitch in our equipment. I mean a structured mathematical signal, deliberate, intelligent, and aimed directly at Earth. The first transmission from 3I Atlas was detected in late 2024, but it was classified almost immediately. Only a handful of scientists were allowed to analyze it. I was one of them. At the time, we were told it was a fluke, a strange anomaly, something we would study quietly and then forget. But we did not forget, and now we cannot. The second transmission arrived on a Friday evening during what was supposed to be a routine observation session at the Arecibo Successor Facility in Puerto Rico. The team was not even looking for it. They were tracking a completely different object, a rogue asteroid passing through the Kuiper Belt, and then without warning, every receiver in the building lit up. The signal was so strong, so clear, that for a moment the lead astronomer thought the system had been hacked. But it was not a hack. It was a message, and it was coming from the exact coordinates where 3I Atlas had last been observed, far beyond the orbit of Neptune, drifting silently through the dark. The transmission lasted 11 minutes, 11 minutes of pure concentrated information. When the team played it back, they realized it was not just data. It was language, not English, not binary, but something older, something that felt like it had been encoded into the fabric of mathematics itself. The message used prime numbers as a foundation, layered with recursive sequences that mapped onto known physical constants: the speed of light, Planck's constant, the fine structure constant. Whoever sent this knew exactly how we think. They knew how we measure reality, and they wanted us to understand. But here is what terrified me. Buried within that transmission, in a section that took our best cryptographers and AI systems 4 days to decode, was a phrase. Just one phrase repeated 7 times in different mathematical variations. The returning ones are close. Now I know what you are thinking. Maybe it is a mistranslation. Maybe we are projecting meaning onto something that is just a natural phenomenon. Believe me, I wanted to think that too. I wanted to dismiss it. But then NASA cross-referenced the signal with deep space telemetry data from the James Webb Space Telescope, and what they found made my blood run cold. There are objects moving toward our solar system, not one, not two, 17 distinct massive objects, each roughly the size of Manhattan, traveling in perfect formation at a speed that defies everything we know about propulsion physics. They are decelerating. That is the key word, decelerating. Natural objects do not decelerate in deep space, they do not move in formation, and they certainly do not send transmissions ahead of their arrival. The formation itself is mathematically precise. The objects are arranged in a pattern that mirrors certain quantum field configurations we have only theorized about in laboratories. It is as if they are moving through space as a single coordinated system, like a flock of birds, but on a cosmic scale. Each object maintains an exact distance from the others. The spacing never varies, not by a single kilometer. That kind of precision requires communication, coordination, and technology far beyond anything humanity has achieved. Let me take you back for a moment. Let me tell you what 3I Atlas really is, or at least what we think it is now. When it was first discovered, astronomers classified it as an interstellar comet. It had come from beyond our solar system, which was rare but not unprecedented. Oumuamua had done the same thing in 2017, but 3I Atlas was different from the moment we started observing it. It did not behave like a comet. It did not have a tail. It did not follow a predictable trajectory, and when we analyzed its spectral signature, we found something that did not match any known material in our solar system. The surface was not ice. It was not rock. It was something metallic, something layered, something that reflected light in a way that seemed almost intentional. When sunlight hit the object, the reflection pattern changed based on the angle. Some scientists noticed that the reflections seemed to pulse at regular intervals, like a beacon. But this observation was dismissed at the time as an optical illusion or measurement error. Now we know it was neither. At the time, the scientific community debated whether it was a natural object or something else. But the debate ended quickly, too quickly. The data was classified, the papers were pulled, and those of us who had seen the findings were politely told to move on. Some researchers who pushed too hard suddenly found their funding cut. Others were reassigned to different projects. But I did not move on. None of us did. We kept watching, we kept listening, and now we know why they did not want us to look too closely. Because 3I Atlas is not a comet. It is a probe, a scout, and it has been sending reports back to something much, much larger. Think about what that means for a moment. For years, this object has been observing us, cataloging us, transmitting information about Earth back to whoever sent it. Every detail of our civilization, our technology, our behavior has been recorded and analyzed. We have been studied like specimens under a microscope. The phrase, "the returning ones," has been analyzed by linguistic experts, theologians, historians, and AI language models. Every analysis points to the same conclusion. This is not the first time they have been here. The word returning implies prior contact. It implies history. And when you start digging into that history, into ancient texts, into myths, into the cosmological records of civilizations that existed thousands of years before modern science, you start to see patterns that cannot be explained by coincidence. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, beings who descended from the stars and taught humanity the secrets of agriculture, mathematics, and astronomy. They described these beings in remarkable detail, including their technology and their purpose for coming to Earth. The Vedic texts describe the Vimanas, flying chariots piloted by gods who waged wars in the sky. These texts include technical specifications, flight patterns, and even fuel sources that sound remarkably similar to modern propulsion concepts. The Dogon tribe of Mali possessed knowledge of the Sirius star system that they could not have discovered without advanced telescopes. They knew about Sirius B, a white dwarf star invisible to the naked eye, centuries before modern astronomy confirmed its existence. Yet they have known about it for centuries. They claim this knowledge was given to them by visitors from that very star system. Were these myths, or were they memories? I used to think mythology was just humanity's way of explaining the unexplainable, stories created to make sense of natural phenomena we did not understand. But now I am not so sure. What if these stories were not invented? What if they were records, historical accounts passed down through generations, distorted by time but rooted in actual events? What if the returning ones are exactly what the name suggests, beings who visited Earth long ago, who interacted with our ancestors, who left, and who are now coming back? And if they are returning, what does that say about the relationship they have with humanity? Are we their creation, their experiment, their children? Here is what we know. The 17 objects currently moving toward our solar system are not natural. Their trajectory suggests they originated from a region near the constellation Lyra, approximately 12,200 light-years away. That is impossibly far for any known technology. Even traveling at a fraction of the speed of light, the journey would take millennia. The fastest spacecraft humanity has ever built, Voyager 1, would need over 20,000 years to cover that distance. But these objects are not traveling at a fraction of light speed. They are traveling faster, far faster. Our calculations suggest they are moving at approximately 40% the speed of light, and the way they are moving suggests some form of space-time manipulation, something that might involve warping the fabric of space itself, creating a bubble of compressed space in front of them and expanded space behind them, essentially surfing through the cosmos on a wave of distorted space-time. This is a concept I have spent decades theorizing about, but never believed I would see proven in my lifetime. We call it an Alcubierre drive in theoretical physics. But seeing it in practice, seeing actual objects using this technology, is both exhilarating and terrifying. And then there is the question that keeps me awake at night. Why now? Why, after thousands of years, are they returning? What changed? Was it something we did? Was it our technology, our nuclear tests that first split the atom in 1945, our radio signals that have been broadcasting into space for over a century, our ventures into space when we first left Earth's atmosphere? Or was it something else, something cyclical, something that happens every few thousand years, like a cosmic alarm clock that we were never meant to hear, but that has been ticking away since the beginning of human civilization? Some researchers believe there might be a galactic schedule, a timeline that advanced civilizations follow when monitoring developing species, and perhaps humanity has reached a critical threshold on that timeline. The transmission from 3i Atlas did not just mention the returning ones, it also included a schematic, a diagram. When our team reconstructed it, we realized it was a map, not of stars, but of time. It showed Earth at different points in history, and at each point there was a marker, a moment of contact. 10,000 BC, right around the time human civilization began to emerge from hunter-gatherer societies. 30,000 BC, when anatomically modern humans were spreading across the globe. 500 AD, during the collapse of the Roman Empire and the rise of new civilizations. And then 2025, that is this year. The pattern suggests that contact is not random, it is scheduled. These visitations occur at specific intervals, at moments when human civilization reaches certain developmental milestones, and if the pattern holds, we are due for another visit soon. But here is the part that truly haunts me. The map did not just show Earth's past, it showed Earth's future. And in that future, something changes, something fundamental about the nature of our planet and our species. The diagram depicted our planet surrounded by a grid, a lattice of energy or technology that we do not yet understand. It wrapped around Earth like a shell, covering every square kilometer of the surface. Some of the scientists who have seen it believe it is a shield, a quarantine to protect us from something dangerous in the wider universe. Others think it is a cage, a barrier to keep us contained, to prevent us from spreading beyond our solar system until we prove we are ready. And a few, including myself, wonder if it might be something else entirely, a network, a connection, a way to integrate Earth into a larger cosmic infrastructure that already exists. Either way, the implication is clear. After this contact, after the returning ones arrive, humanity as we know it will be different forever. The isolation we have known for our entire history will end, and we will have to face the reality that we are not alone and never have been. I have spent my entire career trying to answer one question. Are we alone in the universe? I always believed the answer was no. Statistically, it is almost impossible for us to be alone. There are hundreds of billions of galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars. The odds that we are the only intelligent life are astronomically small. But I always imagined that if we ever made contact, it would be on our terms. We would send the message. We would discover them. We would be the ones in control. We would choose when and how to make first contact. But that is not what is happening. We are not the discoverers. We are the discovered. And judging by the tone of this transmission, we are not the ones in control. We never were. The global response to this discovery has been, to put it mildly, chaotic. Governments are divided. Some want to prepare, others want to deny. Some are mobilizing military resources. Others are trying to establish diplomatic protocols for an event we have no framework to understand. The public has been kept in the dark, not out of malice, but out of fear. Fear that mass panic could destabilize society before we even understand what we are facing. Fear that the economy might collapse. Fear that social order might break down. But I believe you deserve to know. You deserve to be part of this conversation because whatever is coming, it is coming for all of us. This affects every person on this planet equally, and we all have a right to know what our future holds. There is a theory in astrobiology called the zoo hypothesis. It suggests that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations are aware of us but choose not to make contact. They observe us instead, like animals in a zoo. They watch our development without interfering, studying us in our natural state. Some scientists find this theory comforting. I find it terrifying, because if it is true, it means we have been watched our entire existence. Every war, every discovery, every triumph and tragedy in human history has been observed by something far more intelligent than we are. They have seen it all. They know us better than we know ourselves. And if that is true, then the returning ones are not strangers. They are caretakers, or perhaps handlers, beings who have been managing human development from a distance, guiding our evolution towards some purpose we do not yet understand. Another theory that has gained traction in the wake of this discovery is the simulation hypothesis, the idea that our reality is a constructed simulation run by a vastly superior intelligence, that everything we perceive, everything we experience is part of an elaborate program designed by beings we cannot comprehend. If the returning ones are the architects of that simulation, then their return could represent a reset, a recalibration, or worse, an ending. The simulation could be reaching its conclusion, and the architects are returning to shut it down or to move on to the next experiment. I have always approached the simulation hypothesis with skepticism, but the precision of this transmission, the mathematical elegance, the deliberate timing, make it hard not to wonder if we are part of something much larger and more controlled than we ever imagined. Let me tell you about the emotional toll this has taken on those of us who know. There is a strange paradox that happens when you confront the reality of extraterrestrial intelligence. On one hand, it is the greatest scientific discovery in human history. It is proof that we are part of a cosmic community, that the universe is teeming with life and intelligence, that we are not alone. But on the other hand, it is humbling to the point of existential dread. Because when you realize how small we are, how young our civilization is, how primitive our technology remains compared to what is clearly possible, you also realize how vulnerable we are. We are children playing in a sandbox, and the adults just walked into the room. I think about my grandchildren. I think about the world they will inherit. Will it be a world of enlightenment, where humanity joins a galactic community and learns the secrets of the cosmos? Where we gain access to technologies that could solve our greatest problems? Where we take our place among the stars as equals? Or will it be a world of servitude, where we are forced to accept our place in a hierarchy we never asked to join? Where we discover that we are not citizens of the cosmos, but subjects, property, resources? I do not know. And that uncertainty, that not knowing, is perhaps the hardest part. The phrase, "the returning ones are close," has been dissected from every possible angle. Linguists have noted that the structure implies inevitability. Not may return or might return, but are close. Present tense, active, imminent. It is not a warning, it is a statement of fact, an announcement. They are not asking for permission, they are not requesting entry, they are simply informing us that they are on their way. And when you pair that with the trajectory data, the timeline becomes clear. If these objects maintain their current speed and course, they will reach the outer edge of our solar system within 18 months. And if they continue inward, they will be within range of Earth shortly after. 18 months. That is all we have. 18 months to prepare, 18 months to decide what humanity's response will be, 18 months to get ready for the most significant event in human history. Do we reach out with open arms, hoping for peace and knowledge? Do we broadcast messages of welcome, showing them that we are ready for contact? Or do we fortify, preparing for the possibility that their intentions are not friendly? Do we mobilize our defenses, as limited as they may be, against such advanced technology? These are questions that should be discussed openly, debated in every nation, every community, every household. These decisions will affect every person alive and every generation to come, but instead they are being debated in secret, behind closed doors, by a small group of people who believe they are protecting us. Maybe they are right. Maybe knowing would cause more harm than good. Maybe society would collapse under the weight of this knowledge. But I do not believe that. I believe in the resilience of the human spirit. I believe we have faced existential challenges before and survived. I believe we have the right to face our future with eyes wide open, to make our own choices about how we respond to this moment. There is something else I need to tell you. Something that was buried even deeper in the transmission, after the phrase, "The returning ones are close." There was a second message. It was shorter, only 3 words. But those 3 words have consumed my thoughts every day since I first saw them. The message said, "Remember who you are." Remember who you are. What does that mean? Is it a reminder of our humanity? A call to remember our compassion, our creativity, our capacity for growth, a message telling us not to lose ourselves in fear when they arrive? Or is it something more literal, a suggestion that we have forgotten something fundamental about ourselves, about our history, about our connection to whatever is out there? Some researchers believe it is a reference to collective consciousness, the idea that all intelligent life in the universe is connected at some quantum level, that consciousness is not individual but universal, and that we have simply forgotten our connection to the greater whole. Others think it is a clue, a hint that humanity's past is not what we have been taught, that our origins are more complex and more extraordinary than we realize, that we are not simply the product of natural evolution on an isolated planet. I keep going back to the ancient texts, the myths, the stories that have been passed down through generations. In almost every culture, there is a narrative of a forgotten past, a time when humans lived alongside gods or advanced beings, a golden age that ended in catastrophe, a paradise lost. What if those stories are true? What if the returning ones are connected to that forgotten past? And what if their return is meant to awaken something in us that has been dormant for thousands of years? Some ancient knowledge or ability that was suppressed or lost? This is not science fiction. This is happening right now. As you listen to these words, as you go about your daily life, there are objects moving through the void of space, closing the distance between them and us. And somewhere out there, on one of those objects, there may be beings, conscious, intelligent beings, preparing for the moment when they will re-enter Earth's orbit and make their presence known to all of humanity. What will they look like? What will they say? How will humanity react? These are questions we cannot answer, not yet. But here is what I do know. This moment, this very moment in human history, is unlike any other. We stand at the threshold of a new era, an era where the boundaries of our understanding will be shattered, where everything we thought we knew will be challenged. For millennia, we have looked up at the stars and wondered if we were alone. Now we are about to get our answer, and that answer will redefine everything: our science, our philosophy, our spirituality, our sense of self, our place in the universe, our understanding of consciousness and existence itself. I think about consciousness a lot these days. What is it? Where does it come from? Is it unique to biological life, or can it exist in other forms, artificial, quantum, interdimensional? If the returning ones possess a form of consciousness that is far more advanced than ours, what does that mean for the concept of free will? What does it mean for individuality? Are we truly autonomous beings making our own choices? Or are we nodes in a larger network of awareness that spans the entire universe? Are our thoughts our own? Or are we part of a cosmic mind that we cannot perceive? These are the questions that keep me awake. These are the questions that we must now confront. There is a quote by Carl Sagan that I have always loved. He said, "The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself." I used to find that comforting, but now I wonder if it is more than poetry. What if we literally are the universe's way of knowing itself? What if consciousness is not a byproduct of evolution, but the very purpose of existence? What if we were created specifically to experience, to observe, to understand? And what if the returning ones are here to ensure that purpose continues, or to correct it if it has gone astray? I know this is a lot to take in. Believe me, I understand. I have been living with this knowledge for weeks now, and there are moments when I still cannot believe it is real. But it is real. The data does not lie. The signal was clear, and the objects are moving toward us at this very moment. This is not a hoax. This is not mass hysteria. This is the most significant event in human history, and it is unfolding right now, whether we are ready for it or not. So, what do? How do we prepare for something we cannot possibly understand? I do not have all the answers, but I believe the first step is awareness. That is why I am sharing this with you. That is why I am asking you to spread this message, to talk about it, to think about it. Because when the returning ones arrive, we need to be united. We need to face them not as divided nations or competing ideologies, but as one species, one planet, one voice. Follow this channel as we continue decoding the universe's messages. This is just the beginning. There is more to come, more transmissions, more data, more revelations, and I will be here, sharing what I learn, asking the questions that need to be asked, and hopefully finding some answers along the way. But I want to leave you with this, a question that I believe is the most important question humanity has ever faced. If the returning ones are coming back, if they have been here before, if they have watched us and guided us and perhaps even created us, then what do they want? What is the purpose of their return? Are they here to elevate us, to bring us into a cosmic community and share the secrets of the universe, to teach us technologies that could end suffering, disease, and death itself? Or are they here to judge us, to assess whether we are worthy of survival, whether we have evolved beyond our primitive instincts, or whether we are still the violent, short-sighted species we have always been? I think about the state of our world, the conflicts, the inequality, the environmental destruction. If I were an advanced extraterrestrial intelligence observing Earth, I'm not sure I would be impressed, but maybe that is the point. Maybe the returning ones are here to offer us a choice, a chance to change, to grow, to become something more than we are, a final opportunity to prove ourselves worthy. But I do know this: the universe is vast, ancient, and filled with mysteries that we are only beginning to comprehend. And somewhere out there, beyond the edge of our solar system, something is coming. Something that knows us better than we know ourselves. And when it arrives, everything changes. So I will ask you one final question. Who are we really? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, because this conversation is not over. It is just beginning. And we need every voice, every perspective, every insight we can gather as we prepare for what is coming. The returning ones are close.